For years, Nicki Minaj has been saying the same thing. There's only one big aim, and I couldn't hire a bunch of people to say they like me and do all this. Cardi and Cardi B Nicki have been at odds for a while. Additionally, you guys have been requesting that I cover a video on this feud for a very long time. Just so you know, I've already completed 58 pages of research. Now, all I have to do is write a script and I'll offer you a detailed film on this beef. I promise I won't miss that upcoming video. So if you're new here, please subscribe. Cardi B's Sole Admirers. It reads, "Welcome to my world." It's $4.99 per month. $4.99. Nicki Minaj threw a jab at Cardi B's new album on Twitter a few days ago. On September 29th, referencing some dubious marketing strategies surrounding it. The purpose of these QR codes was to allow customers to save $5 at my store. Labels and their artists have been known to violate the law. Take advantage of the system, or outright violating the law in an effort to increase sales. You would be mistaken if you believed that this was the first time Nicki has made reference to Cardi B's strategies. Nicki was preparing to release her new album, Queen, in August 2018. Additionally, she hinted at how some individuals are using radio to pay for song airplay in an interview with Funk Flex. Additionally, I am aware that many people are paid to express those kinds of thoughts since. I am familiar with a lot of behind-the-scenes information that others are unaware of. The problem is that Funk Flex supported her. Well, I'm going to agree with what you're saying, am I right? There's a lot of pay for play and pay for opinions in the music entertainment industry. Yes, indeed. People are probably well aware that it is against the law to bribe a DJ or broadcasting firm to play your song. At this time, though, it's quite well accepted that this is the way radio operates and has always operated. Additionally, Nicki has long been pointing out issues like this. 7 years after the Nicki interview, if we fast forward to the present, has been hit hard in Ta. Drake made those exact claims in his case against UMG regarding payola. Additionally, there are allegations that the radio business is the target of a full-scale RICO case. You remember how I told you that there was going to be a RICO case with radio? Some of you are going to have a long day. A portion of that paper was shown to me. Some of the names are weird. The relationship between the 3 major labels and the largest radio corporation in the world is genuinely a RICO money laundering case. Since they are reportedly laundering money, it goes even farther than payola. However, I suppose it illustrates how dodgy things may go. In any case, Nicki did not name anyone in that Funk Flex interview, but Funk Flex made the decision to do so the very following day. Flex stated the following on Instagram. To be clear, DJs are paid by Cards Group and many other musicians to play recordings and declare them to be hot. Over the years, labels have sent me emails with names and numbers. Additionally, you can't purchase that from Cardi far back. Folks who are generously loving you. That simply cannot be purchased. People's affection cannot be purchased, and that is one of my possessions. There are those that adore me. Note that Nicki did not mention Card's name at this moment. But 2 weeks later, the notorious Fashion Week shoe flinging bonanza, now one of the most viral events in female hip-hop history, blew everything up. Nicki removes the gloves now. 2 days after the incident, Nicki appeared on Queen Radio for a 2.5-hour segment in which she let loose on Cardi B and spilled the beans. And now that she has established her career on sympathy and payola, she makes it apparent that Cardi is among those who have been doing it. For background, iHeartMedia, the company that owns The Breakfast Club, is currently at the center of a federal probe. For whatever reason, Charlamagne the God was instrumental in promoting Cardi B in 2017. He spoke well of her whenever he could, and even organized a campaign to make her the cultural #1 campaign. Don't know why he went to such extreme measures to make Bodak Yellow the #1 song, but I'm sure Nicki thought this kind of behavior was really strange. I agree that it's odd, but I'm not suggesting he stole anything. Even more odd, Charlamagne shared a picture of himself with an RIAA Platinum Bodak Yellow plaque, which was obviously given to him because it had his name. Additionally, the artist or label will occasionally provide plaques to the stations that broke the record. When it reaches a significant milestone like this, although it doesn't imply that Charlemagne received anything, it is undoubtedly Atlantic's method of saying thank you. You were a big part of this record's success. Other industry professionals begin to notice and call it out. When he was still on the Joe Burton podcast, Rory Frell made a statement once more, accusing Card's company, Atlantic Records, of sending promotional checks to the Breakfast Club. Since Atlantic is contributing funds for this promotion, you should speak with Ian. You had to be paid for that. Yes, they are. Hurry up. Jimmy Fallon was her host. Word. Yes, that doesn't even make me angry. However, Charlemagne must relinquish it. Man, Charlemagne must acknowledge that he is employed by Atlantic, similar to what he did. Man, Charlemagne receives a lot of business checks. He simply emailed me Charlemagne's Instagram post, which was completely robotic. Before 8 a.m., that was about 8 of them. He and Envy mysteriously posted simultaneously, saying, "Oh yeah, the check is clear." Even at that point, Rory had been in the business for a number of years, so I recognized something was amusing when I replied, "Oh, come on, bro." Joe Budden is Joe Budden after that. These guys are aware of what is happening. Cardi would reply with some statistics from her album sales after Nicki shared the Queen radio episode saying, "Numbers don't lie." She probably didn't realize at the time that statistics in this field are completely false, because, after all, we've reached a point where we no longer even know what to believe. It's that awful. Nevertheless, more controversy would follow over the next few weeks. And this time, Cardi B had had enough and took to Instagram to share her version of events. She rejects the payola nonsense at this point. So why do you find it so hard to believe when people want to listen to me? For that, did I have to be cheating? Money, my new hit, came out, right? Despite this, it's performing really well on Apple. In fact, it is at the top of all genres charts on Apple. Additionally, you have your Queen radio on that same how. Therefore, can I use payola on a that supports you, dude? Are you me? And I have to be honest with all of this. Cardi B's response to Nicki's payola accusations, which includes showing out her Apple Music numbers, is illogical. This, however, made no attempt to answer the accusation. Nicki specifically mentioned radio pay-for-play, but Apple is a streaming service. And it's clear that these two things are entirely distinct from one another. Cardi is relatively new too. This is a reference to the industry, correct? She probably doesn't know anything about it, even if the label is paying for the radio. The animosity between them has now become entrenched. It's not a tactic used by the industry. The subliminal messages and Twitter feuds between these two women have continued for years, and they genuinely don't get along. Cardi's failure to write her own songs is one of Nicki's primary complaints of her, which is also regarded as cheating in hip-hop. However, I will just be discussing the sales-related charges in this video. That will be covered in the large video. We'll go over everything. According to payola, Nicki didn't hold back when revealing industry shenanigans after her criticism of Travis Scott's Astroworld. Bundles was one of the main catalysts for Billboard's regulation modification at about the same time. You seemed to get unhappy about that when you were ranked second after Travis Scott. Simply put, when you have a number 2 record and someone is selling merchandise, shirts, and tour passes, that's not even declared as of yet. It seems like you're being duped. Instead of just selling music, it feels like someone is playing a game and beating you at it. You mean I want to sell music? I mean, it seems obvious to me that the industry would not desire a megastar like Nicki Minaj to be so vocal about such things. They dislike it. Cardi B's use of media games to gain sympathy was one of the many subliminals Nicki made about her on Super Freaky Girl in 2022. I don't need to plead with the media for pity. And since Nicki has made a career out of polio and compassion, that connects to this sympathy polio issue she was discussing years ago. Therefore, Nicki was quick to dismiss payola's assertions in Card's debut album, Invasion of Privacy. 7 years later, Cardi makes a triumphant comeback with her follow-up album, Am I the Drama? We're hearing a lot of similar allegations about this album. First of all, Cardi packed this album with two massive songs from previous years, making its release already unique. Up in music, and the album went platinum the day it was released, which is really absurd because those songs alone had already received 2 billion plays on Spotify. However, since it's legal, I can't hold Cardi accountable. That's the issue. On the Billboard 200 albums list, the album debuted at the top. Prior to delving into Nicki's allegations, I will add that Cardi appeared to put in a lot of hard effort to help the record succeed. In June, Cardi revealed the date of the album's release, and her team immediately got to work. She released Outside single. She did both short-form and large-scale interviews. She began doing meet and greets and pop-up events. She collaborated with DoorDash to make the album available for purchase via their app. On her website, she offered a wide variety of bundle alternatives in addition to multiple covers for the project. Cardi undoubtedly put a lot of effort into this rollout. Having said that, Nicki only shared the following in a since-deleted tweet: $4 is the number. 99, which was a clear jab at Cardi B's lowered iTunes album pricing. You can get my record for $4 on iTunes right now. 99 during the full week. I appreciate all of your support and I love you all. Thank you so much. She completed it in the first 24 hours. Additionally, I believe that they are actively seeking pure sales on iTunes, as lowering the price will result in more pure sales, which will benefit Billboard. Since chart positions such as a number 1 aid in profit, the label is actually trading profit for chart positions. A number 1 spot on Billboard can do a lot of incredible things if you have an artist locked into a 360-degree contract, which is exactly what Cardi B's contract entails. Cardi B receives a portion of the increased show revenue as a result. Larger brand partnerships for Cardi follow, which is another source of revenue for them. Suddenly, Card's earlier songs are playing, which brings in more money for the label. Being the best type of goes without saying, doesn't it? They can say something like, "Look, this artist we have is really hot. It's truly the best right now." You can bet your bottom dollar that Warner Music Group will highlight the fact that one of its artists achieved number 1. When they provide their performance report to investors, isn't this the music industry? For example, having the top spot on a Billboard has a cascading effect. Additionally, a number 1 album serves as a springboard for Grammy and other award campaigns, further elevating the label's stature. Yes, there were 28 acts nominated for Grammys last year. 12 of our artists took home the prize. We had 13 number 1 billboards. At the top of the hierarchy are senior executives who receive performance-based bonuses and incentives. Not only does a number 1 record represent Cardi's standing, but it also represents her labels. And it's a deliberate decision when you see them drop rates like that in an attempt to get a number 1. Following Nicki's post, a full-scale Twitter feud breaks out. Cardi was dropping off the charts, according to Nicki, among other things. To tell the truth, Nicki foresaw this would occur before Mum, as it has been predicted that Card would slide 2 spots to number 3 on Billboard as a result of her second-week sales. Naturally, the botching accusations surrounding the album followed. Cardi has long been accused of utilizing bots, and Spotify has just recently begun to take action against this. When she and Partisan Fontaine released the song Toot It Up back in March, Spotify removed over half of its plays. Alongside Rena Bass, Cardi B has collaborated with 300 Entertainment for many years. I found this to be intriguing because Rena has done a lot of work with Young Thug and Gunna. As many of you are aware, Thug just acknowledged buying bots for Gunna's record in jail calls that were released. We just stopped doing that. No number 1 album was ever yours. $50 more to purchase stream. $50,000 to purchase streams for you. And one man is said to be responsible for all of this. A man named Kojo, who reportedly helped Kendrick Lamar with the bots. It's a major target in Drake's case against UMG. The same person who performed the bots is Kojo for Thug and Gunna. That's what this tweet from Academics meant. Now, keep in mind that Academics said that Kendrick Lamar and Cardi B both utilized the same public relations firm. which is where everything connects. I could go on, but the information I have is so vague that it is impossible to verify. The relationship behind these bots is a developing tale that I'm following, but I don't feel safe including it in a film. A few days ago, I made the prediction that Spotify would likely lower the amount of people streaming Cardi B's album as part of their crackdown on bots on the Agree to Disagree podcast, which is a venue we host on my new What's the Dirt community on Twitter. No, a lot of people are watching this specifically at the moment. I therefore anticipate that when they deactivate feeds, we'll see that if she's truly botting the way people believe she is. Additionally, certain stories have surfaced indicating that this is taking place. Cardi B removed 4, according to a Twitter media outlet. On October 1st, there were 3 million streams. Yet 13 tracks had bad ratings, which would suggest that they're eliminating bots. It didn't take me more than a minute to discover that the music video for Safe with Kehlani is filled with offensive remarks. These are simple remarks like, wow, nice, awesome, and nice song. It's a really good tune. The accounts were all created on the same day as the comment was posted, as you can see when you click on them. They must thus bot the comments because they purchased the video's views, or else it will appear slanted. Look, I don't agree with everything that Nicki Minaj does, okay, and many people have bad things to say about her. But I don't think for a second that Cardi B's statistics are natural. I'm not saying that all of her songs are bad. All I'm reporting is what I see and what I think. And in this regard, I believe Nicki has been right on the money. This is only a brief video, like I mentioned.